Welcome to tonight's poker journey. This is not a fast, adrenaline-filled broadcast. Instead, it is a slow, thoughtful walk through the world of poker strategy, designed both to teach you and to calm you, as you drift into a peaceful state of focus, or even sleep. Tonight, we explore how to win. In the small stakes cash games, these are the games where many poker journeys begin. With blinds of $1 or 50 cents, or even a few cents online. They may look small, but the lessons here are universal. The players are not the professionals you see on TV. They are students, workers, friends, and dreamers, sitting down to test their luck and skill. And it is in this environment, full of energy and mistakes, that a calm, patient player can quietly, steadily profit. Imagine the table, the shuffle of chips, the soft flick of cards being dealt, voices murmuring in the background, and in the middle of it all, you, calm, focused, ready. Tonight, we learn how to build a winning approach, one decision at a time. Tonight, we'll explore the calm side of the game, the mindset, the strategy, and the quiet discipline that separates the steady winners from the restless dreamers. You don't need to be a professional. You don't need to memorize charts or equations. What you need is awareness, patience, and a little understanding of human nature. What you're really playing isn't just cards. You're playing people. You're playing emotions. You're watching stories unfold in real time. Picture it for a moment. The room is dimly lit. The air is soft with the quiet sound of shuffling chips. Cards slide across the felt like whispers. Somewhere a player taps his finger, waiting. Another sips their drink. The dealer moves with slow precision, as if time itself follows their rhythm. And there you are, calm, focused, ready to play. You look down at your cards. The night stretches before you. You're not chasing jackpots tonight. You're here to build something steady, a foundation. The truth is, small stakes poker is where every professional's story begins. It's where patience is tested, where bad beats happen, where people chase dreams that fold before the river. And yet, this is also where habits of greatness are formed. Every chip you win here teaches you something. Every fold you make builds discipline. Every moment you stay calm, while others lose focus, gives you an edge. You see, small stakes poker isn't really about the money. It's about learning to see clearly when others can't. To fold when your ego wants to call. To wait, patiently, for that moment when the cards align and the story turns in your favor. Tonight, we'll talk about that journey. How to win, not through aggression, but through understanding. We'll explore how the patient player quietly collects chips while others fight their emotions. We'll talk about reading the table, not through tells or magic, but through observation and timing. You'll learn the foundation of winning small stakes games: starting hand discipline, position, value betting, and emotional control. Each section will unfold like a story, and as you listen, you may start to notice the rhythm of poker mirrors the rhythm of life. There are moments to act, and moments to wait, moments to fight, and moments to fold. And through it all, your calmness is your greatest weapon. So as you listen, breathe, picture the green felt, the quiet hum of the game, the soft clinking of chips as they move, one by one, toward you. This isn't just a game anymore. It's a meditation. It's a lesson in patience, decision-making, and the quiet art of discipline. And as the night deepens, you might feel your thoughts slowing, your breathing steadying, your focus sharpening. That's the same calmness you'll carry to the poker table. That's where winning begins, not in aggression, but in awareness. So tonight, Let's begin this journey together. Welcome to Poker Dreams. How to win small stakes cash games. Sit back, relax, and let's deal the first hand. Part 1. The landscape of small stakes poker. The world of small stakes poker is a world of stories. It's where everyone begins. The professionals, the grinders, the dreamers, the curious ones who wander into the game, hoping to test their luck. These are the tables filled with $5 pots, $10 bluffs, and $20 dreams. The stakes may be small, but the emotions, they're just as real as in the biggest games in the world. Take a moment and picture that table. The cards slide across the felt, soft and silent. Someone laughs after winning a small pot. Another player frowns, shaking their head as they lose with top pair again. There's a sense of rhythm in the air, a kind of living heartbeat that pulses through every hand dealt. This is the small stakes world, full of energy, imperfections, and opportunity. Here, players don't always think in ranges or statistics. They play on instinct, on emotion. They call too often, bluff too rarely, and chase too much. And that is where your edge begins. Because in this world, you don't have to be brilliant. You just have to be patient. You don't have to outsmart everyone, just outlast their mistakes. Most players in small stakes games are not thinking about long-term strategy. They're thinking about the last hand they played, about how unlucky they got, about how they deserve to win the next one. They play with emotion, not logic. And emotion is where money leaks out like water through open fingers. Look around the table in your mind. You can see them different personalities, different energies. Each one tells a story. There's the calling station, the player who just can't fold. They see every flop, every turn, every river. They want to see if their hand gets there. They love the feeling of calling, of chasing hope. Against them, your mission is simple. Bet when you're strong, fold when you're weak. Never bluff them, they will call, and you'll only feed their habit. But when you have it, when you have it, you bet, again and again, and they'll pay you. Then there's the over-aggressive gambler. They love to raise, to push people around. They bluff with anything. They crave that rush, that moment of dominance, when everyone folds, and they scoop the pot. Don't fight their fire with fire. Let them burn themselves out. Trap them. Call with your strong hands. Let them build the pot, and then watch them pay you off when you finally show the monster. Next, you might notice the tight regular. They fold a lot. They play solid, but predictable. They rarely take risks. Against them, you can steal blinds, attack their weaknesses, and make small, controlled bluffs. Because they respect aggression, and sometimes, that's all it takes. And then there's everyone else, the casual players, the weekend visitors, the ones who don't care about the math. They're there for fun, for stories, for the simple joy of playing. Some win, some lose, but almost all of them play too many hands. And that's your advantage, not because you're smarter, but because you're disciplined. You see, small stakes poker is not about domination. It's about collection. Quietly, steadily collecting chips from those who give them away. One small pot at a time. While others chase big wins and fast glory, you're building consistency. Imagine sitting there, hour after hour, folding, watching, learning. You're not bored, you're observing. You see who limps with weak hands, who can't fold top pair, who bluffs too much. You're storing every detail. the way someone glances at their chips before they bet, the timing of their decisions, the way they sigh when they miss a draw. These are your clues, the kind of information you can only earn through stillness. Patience becomes your secret weapon. The truth is, at small stakes, the money doesn't go to the flashiest player. It doesn't go to the loudest one or the luckiest one. It goes to the calmest one. The player who folds when it's time to fold, who bets when it's time to bet, who watches the table like a reader watches a story unfold. Every hand tells you something. Every bet is a sentence in the story. And when you can read that story clearly, you'll find the ending is often predictable. You'll know when someone is strong. You'll know when someone is bluffing. And you'll know when to simply stay out of the way. In small stakes poker, the most valuable skill is not aggression. It's awareness. Awareness of yourself. Awareness of others. Awareness of rhythm. So as the chips move around the table, slowly, endlessly, you remain centered. You fold the bad hands without frustration. You play the good ones with confidence. And with each orbit, you build something subtle, an image, a reputation, a presence. Others begin to notice. They see you as solid, patient, trustworthy. And that image, that calm reputation, will help you later when you finally choose to bluff or when you trap someone with a monster hand. This is the quiet art of small stakes poker. Not fireworks, not chaos. Just patience, presence, and observation. It's the first step toward mastery. And when you learn to see this landscape clearly, when you can recognize every type of player, every rhythm at the table, you'll realize something powerful. The game doesn't change as the stakes go up. Only the people do. The lessons you learn here, in the small, quiet games, will guide you forever. Part 2. Starting hand selection, the foundation. In poker, every story begins with 2 cards. Before the flop, before the strategy, before the drama of turn and river, there is the decision that matters most. Should you play or should you fold? It sounds simple, but this right here is where most small stakes players lose their money. They play too many hands. They let curiosity or boredom or ego talk them into calling when they should have folded. But the truth is, patience before the flop is the strongest foundation you can build. Imagine a player sitting at a small stakes table. Hand after hand, they call, with Jack-9 offsuit, with King-3, with 10-5 suited. They tell themselves, it's cheap, I'll just see a flop. But what they don't realize is that every bad call is a small leak, a quiet, steady drip that drains their bankroll. And the player who folds those same hands is quietly saving money. Hand after hand, they conserve their chips like oxygen, waiting, watching, until the right moment comes. That's what hand selection is. It's patience disguised as discipline. It's the art of saying no, so that when the time comes to say yes, you're ready. Let's start with the strongest hands, the ones that make you money over time. Pocket aces, pocket kings, pocket queens, ace-king suited. These are your premium hands, the top of your range. They don't come often, maybe once or twice an hour if you're lucky. But when they do, you play them with confidence. You raise, you build the pot. You invite the mistakes of others. Because it's small stakes, someone will always call, and that's exactly what you want. When you have a strong hand, you want action. When you don't, you want peace. This simple rhythm, action with strength, peace with weakness is how you start to win consistently. Now let's talk about the medium strength hands. Pairs like 9s, 8s, 7s. Suited connectors like 9-8 of hearts, 7-6 of spades, Ace-Queen, Ace-Jack. These hands are playable, but they depend on position and situation. In early position, where many players act after you, these hands lose value. But in late position, especially on the button, they become powerful tools. Because when you act last, you have more information. You can see who's strong, who's weak, who's just limping in with weak holdings. You can raise more confidently. Small suited connectors, in particular, are like seeds. You plant them with care. You don't expect them to bloom often, but when they do, they can grow into something beautiful. A straight, a flush, a hidden monster that wins a big pot. The key is knowing when to invest and when to fold. If the pot is small and the price is right, you can call. But if the pot grows fast and you're holding something fragile, it's okay to let it go. Remember, folding is not failure. Folding is preservation. Every fold keeps you alive for the next good hand. Every fold keeps your stack ready for the moments that matter. And now, the weak hands, the ones that tempt so many players into trouble. King 9 offsuit, Queen 10 offsuit, Jack 8. These are the hands that look nice, but lose you the most money. They're like shiny stones on the beach, easy to pick up, but heavy to carry. They make weak pairs and weaker kickers. And when you hit top pair with them, you'll often lose to someone who hit it better. The discipline to fold these hands again and again is what separates winners from dreamers. At small stakes, your edge is not from playing more hands than your opponents, it's from playing fewer hands and playing them better. Think of it like this. Every time you fold a bad hand, you're not missing a chance. You're protecting your stack. Every fold is a tiny win. Every fold is discipline in motion. You are waiting for alignment, for position, for strength, for clarity. And when those three come together, when you look down and see pocket aces on the button, all that waiting will pay off in one simple moment, because poker rewards the patient. The cards don't care how long you've been folding. They don't know how bored you are. They reward focus. They reward readiness. The players who get impatient, who say, "I just want to play something," they are your customers. And you're the store that never runs out of stock. The more they gamble, the more they lose to someone steady. That's the quiet truth of poker at small stakes. So the next time you look down and see a weak hand, don't sigh. Don't fidget. Just breathe. Fold it, watch the others play their chaos. And smile quietly, because every time they chase, they're moving one step closer to paying you. That's the foundation. The art of patience, the quiet discipline of hand selection. Fold, 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 and then strike when the time is right. Over time, those moments will define your entire poker story. Because real profit in small stakes doesn't come from winning every pot. It comes from playing fewer pots, but winning the right ones. Part 3. The Power of Position. In poker, timing is everything. Not just the timing of a bet or a bluff, but the timing of when you act. This simple idea, position, is one of the most powerful truths in the game. It's not as flashy as a big bluff. It doesn't make for dramatic highlights on TV. But if you understand position, truly understand it, you'll see poker in a different light. Let's imagine a table again. The dealer shuffles. The blinds are posted. The cards move, one by one, across the felt. You're sitting there, watching. You don't have your cards yet, but already. You're thinking about where you are. Are you under the gun, the first to act? Or are you on the button, the last to decide? That difference changes everything. In early position, you're in the dark. You have no information. You act before everyone else. You must make decisions with uncertainty all around you. It's like walking into a room before the lights are on. You can't see what's ahead. So in early position, you must play strong, reliable hands. Pocket aces, pocket kings, ace-queen suited. Hands that can withstand pressure, because after you act, 5 or 6 people will still have a chance to raise, to call, to surprise you. That's why early position is dangerous, not because you'll play badly, but because you'll play blind. Now move a few seats down, to the middle. Here, you've seen a few players act before you. Maybe one limps in, maybe another folds. You have some information now. You can widen your range a little. Suited connectors, mid pairs, even some speculative hands. If the table is soft, you're starting to feel the rhythm of the table. You're not guessing anymore. You're responding. And then, we come to the late positions. The cutoff and the button. These are the golden seats. On the button, you act last on every street. You get to see everyone's decisions before you make yours. It's like hearing every note of a song before deciding how to end it. You can see who's hesitant, who's strong, who's protecting something fragile. You can control the pot size. You can steal blinds from players who are just waiting for good cards. And if you miss the flop, you can still win, because you act last. That's the secret. Position is not about luck. It's about information. And in poker, information is power. Imagine 2 players holding the same cards, say king-queen suited. One is in early position, the other is on the button. The first has to guess, the second gets to see. The first builds pots with uncertainty. The second builds pots with clarity. Over hundreds, thousands of hands, that difference adds up like compound interest. And that's why winning players love position, not because it's fancy, but because it's steady. Every orbit around the table is a cycle of opportunity. Early position, play tight. Middle position, open up a little. Late position, widen your range, and take control. You're like the tide, moving in and out with the flow of action. When others are lost in the moment, you're in sync with the rhythm of the table. And when you sit on the button, you're not just a player anymore, you're the conductor. You decide when the hand begins, and when it ends. That's what it means to have position. It's not just power, it's perspective. You see everything before you move. And that calm, patient observation, that quiet edge, will win you more money than any lucky card ever could. So the next time you sit down at a small stakes table, don't just look at your cards, look at your seat. Feel the flow of action. If you're early, play tight, stay strong, stay patient. If you're late, open up, attack weakness, take control. And remember this, the cards you play are important, but where you play them from often matters more. Because in poker, just like in life, the power isn't only in what you hold. It's in when you choose to act. And those who act last often win the most. Part 4. Betting strategy and value extraction. Poker is not just a game of cards. it's a game of bets. Every chip you place on the felt is a story, a message, a signal to your opponents. And in the small stakes world, those messages don't need to be complicated. You're not playing against professionals who analyze every move. You're playing against real people. Tired, after work, curious, emotional, chasing luck. And that is where your quiet edge begins. In small stakes poker, the secret to winning isn't to bluff often. It's to bet for value again and again, patiently, steadily. Think of it like fishing in calm water. You cast your line, not to scare the fish, but to invite them in. You don't yank the rod the moment something tugs. You wait. You let them bite. That's what value betting is, letting your opponents pay you slowly. Let's picture a hand. You hold ace-king. The flop comes ace-10-5, rainbow. You're first to act. You bet half the pot. The opponent calls. Now, what's happening here? To them, your bet might look like a bluff or a cautious probe. To you, it's pure value. They call with weaker aces, with tens, with draws. You're not trying to scare them. You're feeding them just enough to keep them coming. Then the turn brings a safeguard, say, the 2 of clubs. You bet again, slightly bigger this time. 2/3 of the pot, they call again. The river comes a harmless 7. Now you pause, you breathe. You ask yourself, what can they have? What can they call with? And then, you bet once more, not too large, not too small. Maybe half the pot, maybe a little more. Just enough to get paid. That's the essence of small stakes poker. You're not hunting for giant bluffs. You're collecting small payments. Like a quiet business person running a steady shop. Each pot, a transaction. Each hand, a chance to make a little profit. Many beginners make the mistake of checking too much when they're strong. They fear scaring people away. But at the small stakes, players love to call. They want to see another card. They're curious. They hope to get lucky. So let them. Let them call you down. Give them prices that keep them in. Not cheap, but not expensive. Make them pay to chase their dreams. And over time, those little payments add up to something beautiful. Now, let's talk about bet sizing. In small stakes games, you don't need fancy, solver-approved numbers. You need clarity. Bet enough that worse hands can call, and that draws must pay to see more cards. Half pot, 2/3 pot. Sometimes full pot, if the board is wet. Keep it simple, steady, repeatable. And when you miss the flop, when your cards don't connect, don't panic. Don't build pots without reason. Remember this. In small stakes poker, your chips are soldiers. Don't send them to die for no reason. Save them for the battles that matter. Value bet when you're ahead. Check and fold when you're behind. That alone will make you better than half the table. Now, there's one more layer to this idea: pot control. Not every strong hand needs to build a giant pot. Sometimes, your top pair isn't strong enough to play for stacks. In those spots, you keep the pot small. You bet once, maybe twice, and then check the river. You protect yourself, not from losing chips, but from losing focus. That's discipline, value betting, pot control, patience. These are not glamorous strategies, but they are the foundation of long-term success in low-stakes games. And when you practice them long enough, they start to feel natural. Like breathing, like rhythm, like the quiet pulse of the table. So when you sit at your next game, and the dealer slides those chips toward you, don't think about tricks. Don't think about showing off. Think about value. Think about steady hands, simple edges, repeated over and over. Because that's how you win. Not by gambling, but by inviting your opponents to gamble against you. And as they chase their luck, you'll quietly collect their chips, one hand at a time, one value bet at a time, until, at the end of the night, your stack tells the story of patience, clarity, and quiet profit. That is the art of value extraction. Part 5. The art of bluffing at small stakes. Bluffing. It's the most famous word in poker. The move that lives in movies, in legends, in every beginner's imagination. But in the small stakes games, bluffing isn't what most people think it is. It's not fireworks. It's not Olean's showdowns with a grin and a wink. Bluffing, at this level, is more like a whisper. A quiet suggestion that maybe, just maybe, you have something stronger than you do. And the truth is, you don't need to bluff often to win small stakes poker. In fact, most of the money you make won't come from bluffing at all. It'll come from betting for value. But a little bluffing, in the right places, can make your entire strategy stronger. Let's start with something simple. The continuation bet. You raise before the flop with a good hand, maybe ace-king. The flop comes 10-7-3. You missed completely. Still, you bet. Not because you want to trick them, but because your story makes sense. You raised pre-flop. The board looks dry. Your opponent knows that flop might have hit your range. They fold their small pair, their weak 7, their queen 9. You win a small pot, and you move on. That's the first level of bluffing, representing strength when you logically can. You're not inventing a fantasy. You're telling a believable story. Then, there's the semi-bluff. You hold a hand like 9-8 of hearts. The flop comes Jack 7-2 with 2 hearts. You don't have anything yet, but you have possibilities. A straight draw, a flush draw. You bet. If they fold, you win right away. If they call, you still have outs, cards that can turn your bluff into the best hand. This kind of bluff has safety built into it. You're not falling, you're floating. You have 2 ways to win, now or later. But here's the key. Don't bluff people who love to call. In small stakes, you'll meet many players who are curious. They call just to see if you're lying. They can't fold a pair of 5s, no matter what story you tell. Those are not the people you bluff. You bluff the ones who fold too easily. The cautious players. The ones staring at their chips like they're afraid to lose them. The ones who look away when they miss the flop. Bluffing is not about ego. It's about reading humans. You watch them. You feel the rhythm of their decisions. You wait for that small sign of weakness. A check that came too fast. A glance at their cards after the flop, like they're hoping something's changed. Then, calmly, slowly, you bet the right amount, not too large, not too small, just enough to say, I have it. And then, you breathe. If they fold, you take the pot, quietly, with no celebration. If they call, you smile, and move on. Because bluffing isn't about one hand, it's about balance. You bluff just enough, so your real hands get paid later. The next time you bet with top pair, they'll remember the time you bluffed, and they'll call you. That's the beauty of it. Bluffing, at small stakes, isn't war. It's art. It's brushstrokes. It's knowing when the table is ready to believe your story, and when it's not. So remember this. bluff rarely. Bluff smart. Bluff when your story makes sense, and when your opponent can actually fold. Do it too often, and you burn your credibility. Do it too little, and your strong hands never get action. Find the quiet middle, the rhythm of truth and illusion. Because, in poker, bluffing isn't lying. It's storytelling. It's giving your opponent a reason to believe, just for a moment, that the cards you don't have might actually be there. And when you learn to bluff like that, softly, rarely, with purpose, you'll find a new kind of calm at the table. The calm of a player who doesn't need to win every hand, just the right ones. And that's what true bluffing is. Quiet, simple, human. The whisper that wins the pot. Part 6. Emotional control and tilt management. In poker, the cards matter, the math matters, the strategy matters, but there's something even more powerful. Something quieter, deeper, harder to master. Control. Not control of others, not control of luck, but control of yourself. Every poker player, no matter how skilled, faces the same invisible enemy: tilt. That moment when emotion takes the wheel, when the bad beat hits, when the river brings pain, when logic fades and frustration takes its place. Tilt doesn't look the same for everyone. For some, it's anger, loud and visible. For others, it's quiet, a slow loss of patience, a string of careless calls. But the result is always the same. Emotion takes over, and the game starts slipping away. In small stakes poker, this happens all the time. You'll see players shaking their heads, muttering to themselves, calling down with garbage hands because they don't care anymore. They're not playing the cards anymore. They're playing their emotions. But here's the secret that every steady winner knows. The cards don't owe you anything. The deck has no memory. The next hand doesn't know what just happened. Every shuffle is a fresh start. So when the bad beat comes, and it will come, take a breath. Just one long breath. Picture a still lake. The surface ripples for a moment after a stone is thrown. But soon, it settles again. That's how your mind should be. You don't need to fight the emotion. You just need to let it pass. Remember, poker is a long game, not a single session, not a single night. It's thousands of hands, thousands of small decisions. And those who stay calm, who keep their hearts steady, are the ones who win in the end. If you lose a big pot, stand up for a moment, stretch, sip your drink, watch the table. Let the storm move past you. When you return to play, return with a clear mind. Emotional control isn't about never feeling anything. It's about feeling it, and then letting go. There's also a practical side to this. Bankroll management. Always play within your limits. The smaller the stakes, the easier it is to detach emotionally. You can't think clearly when you're scared to lose. So protect your mind by protecting your bankroll. That way, every decision comes from reason, not fear. And here's something beautiful. The more you practice calmness at the poker table, the more it starts to appear in other parts of your life. Patience, presence, acceptance. Poker teaches them all, if you let it. Because in the end, tilt isn't just about cards. It's about control, of ego, of emotion, of expectation. The next time a bad beat hits, don't see it as punishment. See it as a lesson. a reminder that you're human, a chance to breathe deeper, to grow steadier. Poker is a mirror. It shows you your strengths and your weaknesses, and through patience, through calm, through silence, you learn to master both. So let the others tilt. Let them chase losses. Let them argue with the cards. You'll sit still, watching, waiting, ready for the next hand. Because the strongest player in the room isn't the loudest, or the luckiest, or even the smartest. It's the calmest, the one who plays from peace, not from tilt. And that kind of control is what truly separates the dreamers from the winners. Conclusion: the journey of a small stakes winner. The cards are done now. The chips are still. The table is quiet again. You can almost hear the soft shuffle of the dealer's hands, the hum of distant conversation, the faint clink of chips stacking in someone's tray. It's the end of another poker night, and somewhere in that calm, between the wins and the losses, you begin to understand what this game is really about. Poker isn't just about money, or luck, or ego. It's about rhythm. It's about timing. It's about finding calm inside the chaos. Every hand is a small story. A story of decisions, emotions, patience, and chance. Tonight, we talked about the little things that make big differences. How to choose your hands wisely, folding the weak, playing the strong. How to use your position, waiting for the right moment, acting with knowledge, not impulse. How to bet for value, not vanity. How to bluff just enough to stay unpredictable, not as a trick, but as a form of storytelling. And how to keep your mind steady when the waves rise, staying calm through the tilt, patient through the pain. That's the real game. Because small stakes poker isn't about outplaying the world. It's about mastering yourself. It's learning to see through noise, to recognize human patterns, to read not just the cards, but the people. And when you learn to do that, you begin to see poker for what it really is, a mirror of life itself. Some days, you win with strong hands. Other days, you lose with the best of them. But it's all part of the rhythm, the flow of luck, patience, and time. The players who last, the quiet, consistent winners, aren't chasing glory. They're building discipline. They know that success at the table, just like success in life, is not built on explosions, but on quiet repetition. Hand after hand, decision after decision, calm, patient, focused. So, as the lights dim and the cards are gathered once more, you can let your thoughts drift like smoke in the air. Maybe you're still thinking about that perfect hand, or maybe you're just listening to the sound of silence, the peaceful hum of the poker table in your mind. You've learned tonight that winning at small stakes poker doesn't mean outsmarting everyone. It means staying true to your plan, playing good hands, playing in position, betting for value, staying calm, and trusting the process. The journey never ends. It just moves in circles, orbit by orbit, like the dealer's button passing around the table. Every orbit brings new hands, new lessons, new chances. And through it all, you stay steady, watching, waiting, winning slowly. So tonight, as you close your eyes, remember this feeling, the soft pulse of patience, the quiet strength of calm focus. Poker is not chaos, it's clarity. It's the art of stillness in motion. And if you carry that lesson from the felt to your life, you'll find that the best wins aren't loud at all. They're quiet, peaceful, earned one thoughtful hand at a time. So rest now. The cards can wait. The next hand will come soon enough. For now, just breathe. You've played well. You've learned. You've won in the ways that matter most. Good night, player. Sleep well, and may your next dream be filled with perfect flops and calm decisions.